Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge, this is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Denton Day, 30 minutes from right now, talking about the week that was in college football. Just got a text from my wife. She wants me to get the supplies to make pumpkin spice French toast.
Oh, my goodness, Hunt.
The high on Saturday is 96. I just don't know that we've eased into fall. I realized this morning when folks got out of bed, it was in the 60s, but like pumpkin spice French toast, it's I was sweating bullets on Saturday.
It does not matter, Hunt. You know why? Because Starbucks is currently selling the pumpkin spice latte, and that's all that matters to white females right now.
All right, well, I don't know that I'm going to purchase this pumpkin
you
spice.
You're going to have to get it, Hunt. You're going to have to do it.
I might.
You're going to have to.
Really anything to not talk about my picks from Saturday. But let's do it. Let's get into them. Beck, do you have the requisite sound effects back there?
Yeah.
Well, you only need one, really.
Pretty much.
Let's just go through briefly. San Jose State at Texas. I took the Longhorns minus 36.5. That did not cover. Battle of the Aggies. I took Utah State plus 31.5. Bang, baby, that hit. I believe the term I used on Friday was Vegas doesn't know anything. I know everything.
You did actually say that.
And I said that easily the Ole Miss Rebels would win by 25 points, that the 8.5 was a ridiculous line. So I took Ole Miss minus 8.5. They did not cover. Shout out to Coach Stoops for kicking that extra point, kicking that field goal at the end of the game to cover. Lane Kiffin mentioned it on the broadcast. I took Kansas and their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, plus 6.5. That didn't hit. Thought Sunbelt Billy would get it done, minus 17 and a hook. They didn't even win. I took the Arkansas State Red Wolves, plus 23.5. They lost by 1,000. Thought that Arizona State would cover the 6.5 in Starkville. They did not.
They didn't win.
They did not win. They lost. Then I thought that I would take Oklahoma, Brent Venables against Bryce Underwood, and minus 5.5. I like that. That's a winner, baby. And I took Auburn minus 43.5. Nope, they couldn't cover against Ball State. Took Virginia Tech laying 2.5 at home.
That was looking good for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, that did not look good. They got annihilated by Vanderbilt in the second half. And then I took ULM plus 34.5. Well, they lost by 73, so that's not even close. That's a 2-9 week, Beck.
It is.
How do you recover from that?
Go 9-2 the next week.
I don't like my chances of doing that.
I don't either.
People ask me all the time. I get this question so often. Like, you like cover sports? Like, you don't bet on sports? No, because I can't beat Vegas. I do this crap all the time. 2-9. I got asked by Marler to pick straight up winners on opening weekend of college football. There were 5 games, just winners, no spreads. I went 1-4. You think I'm going to take the money that is in my checking account and wager that against Las Vegas? That's not going to go well. That's why I don't bet on sports.
Yeah.
I get into a pick'em every year with my buddies for like $100 for the season. And then I think I usually have like a couple of props for the Super Bowl just because I don't care who wins the game, so you might as well have something. This is why I don't bet sports, because I have no chance to win.
No chance.
But let's talk about some of the storylines from the SEC. Where should I start there? What's the biggest storyline from the SEC?
I think it's got to be Florida.
Okay. Dan Wolken called Florida a charade of a program in his misery index on Sunday. Now, we all, myself very much included, wrote Billy Napier off last year in October. And they rallied and won some games. But the fact of the matter is that when you look at their schedule and you look at a loss to South Florida where they scored 16 points, do you know what the next 4 games for Florida are?
Not easy.
At LSU, at Miami, who's number 5 in the country, Texas at Texas A&M, number 16 in the country. Their next 4 games are number 3 in the country, number 5 in the country, number 7 in the country, number 16 in the country. And they just lost to South Florida. I haven't even gotten to a game against Georgia that's not at home, to a game at Ole Miss, to Tennessee, to number 10 Florida State. Like, I haven't even gotten there. This just doesn't seem possible to me. I just don't see how you can recover from this. He's got playmakers. Jaden Ball, who we're going to talk about this week a lot, is as good a running back as there is in the SEC. He's got a 5-star quarterback who's not a freshman anymore. He's got Trey Wilson, who is a former 5-star recruit on the outside.
Eugene?
Right, the third. He's got dudes. They scored 16 points on South Florida. That's just pathetic. And like, I realize that we're talking about LSU's next opponent, so you got to like realize what you're doing here, because I dismissed Louisiana Tech all week last week, and LSU didn't really show up to play. But like, I just don't see a way that Billy Napier can survive this.
It's just,
if he does, it's just dollars and cents, and Florida just doesn't want to commit the resources to it.
and LSU, Florida should have won this game at the end. So not only did South Florida also miss a field goal before that last drive, but then Florida,
and then Napier threw the ball.
Yes.
And ran 11 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, they ran no time off the clock. And then South Florida gets the ball incomplete on the first down, then pass interference, then unsportsmanlike conduct on Florida. That's great. You love that. And then they pop the 30-yard pass, and that at that point they're pretty much within field goal range.
Florida had 11 penalties for 103 yards.
You can't do that.
It's just, at that place, there's too many resources is a general term, and I realize that Florida was really late to the game on facilities and NIL. So it's not a layup, but you got to do better than what he's doing. And right now you're talking about a guy that's in year 4, and they can't beat South Florida at home, and they haven't been a 9-win team at all in his tenure. So I don't think that the situation is tenable for Billy Napier at Florida. Now, on the flip side, heck of a job by Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State. Now, I don't know what defense Arizona State was in to allow that touchdown pass with 30 seconds to go, but having a guy one-on-one that once the catch is made, there's no safety anywhere to be seen when Mississippi State's got to go down the field. That was an odd call to have that coverage out there. I'm not saying drop 8 guys 30 yards from the line of scrimmage, but like, how about some help over the top? But what the story of this game to me is not that. That may have been what decided it, but the story of this game to me is that Mississippi State's defense played great. This was the worst defense in the SEC by astronomical proportions last year. Brian Haydad sat down with us in Atlanta for SC Media Days and laid out a stat that like Mississippi State, the difference between them at number 16 in the conference and number like 13 in the conference was this just astronomical. Like, they were so far and away the worst team, it wasn't even close. And they held Arizona State with Sam Leavitt at quarterback, who's a returning playoff quarterback, to 20 points. That's a great effort defensively. They just punished Arizona State in the first half. They only allowed 3 points in the first half. You look at Miss Arizona State, 3 of 14 on third down. Sam Leavitt threw for 82 yards in the game. He completed 3.2 yards per attempt, which is awesome defensively. And Mississippi State, did a great job. They gave up 251 rushing yards, but 20 points, that'll get it done. Generally speaking, Jeff Lebby is going to be able to scheme up 24 points worth of offense, and he did on this night. So it's going to be a long year for Mississippi State, and I'm not willing to move them significantly up in the power rankings tomorrow, because on Wednesday they still got to play Tennessee, they still got to play A&M. They've got a lot coming down the pike with the back end of this schedule. Always got to finish, obviously, with Ole Miss. They've got to play Texas. They've got to play Georgia. Like, it's going to be a slog, and they may not win a league game again. Like, I think they probably will. Never know what Florida's doing or what state they could be in at that point. Can they beat Arkansas on the road? Maybe. But as I look at their schedule right now, there are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ranked opponents on that schedule left. So wins are going to be tough to come by. But they played tough, they played hard, and they made a couple great plays late in the game to get the late touchdown and to get the interception to seal it. So hat tip to Jeff Lebby and that squad. I thought Oklahoma looked good. I couldn't watch all of it because I'm watching LSU and covering that game. But what I did see, and then statistically, and then what I saw in the highlights, they look pretty good. Their defense flies around. They've got a good scheme there, and Mateer is electrifying. Like, he's a good athlete. He makes highlight reel plays. He has brought a level of energy and playmaking ability that Oklahoma was just completely devoid of last year. Completely. And it wasn't a work of art. Michigan still got a good defense, and they put up 24 points on them. And I felt like that they were going to make things tough on Michigan defensively with a freshman quarterback, and they did that. I thought that was really, really good. And I think Oklahoma has got a chance to be a playoff team this year. I don't think they will be. I think their schedule's too difficult, and I think they'll fall short of that. But they've got some ingredients. They've got a defense. They've got a quarterback. They've got a shot. And I think that was a nice win for them on their home field against Michigan. I guess last piece to the puzzle here that we'll talk about before we get back to LSU, Ole Miss, Kentucky. This game just shocked me. It shocked me that Kentucky hung in it as long as they did. I have zero respect for the talent level in that program right now, and I feel like Ole Miss should be significantly better. I made a big stink about it on Friday, and that would not have gotten home because they kept it within 7, and I'm stunned by that. Stunned.
Yeah, it was shocking. I think the takeaway is Vegas just always seems to know. They always do.
I don't have a theory on that, but I do have a practice that I will put into my life moving forward. I'm not going to bet them.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
I will bet emotional hedges from time to time. Like, I'm going off-site for the pregame show in a couple of weeks. I'll probably put a small bet on the other side just so if LSU loses, I'll collect cash. That's the extent of my sports gambling. I did it last year for the A&M game. Was reluctant, had to schlep over to the frickin' window and grab my $100 that I didn't want because A&M punked LSU in the second half. The only way I'm going to bet is to emotionally hedge financially against my heartbreak. Because I know that I can't beat them.
I'm not surprised at all that you fail to mention and give any sort of justice for Missouri or Vanderbilt.
Forgot they played. They played.
No, yeah, sure you did.
Missouri's offense looks good.
Yeah.
Tribula was awesome in the game, 30 of 39. Scored 42 points. That's good work. And then Vanderbilt, man.
That second half was very they scored 34 points in the second half. Yeah.
34 unanswered. It was 20-10 at halftime. I was thinking, that's about what I expected.
Yeah.
And bam. Clark Lee's done a good job. Clark Lee said, I still don't think they have good players. But they've done a good job. Maybe they do have good players.
Maybe they do.
What do I know? Not very much, obviously. All right, when we come back, we'll talk some LSU football. What do they do with these injuries? If you missed the injury reports, we'll give those to you when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If your home is 20, 25, 30 years old, maybe time to look into getting some new work done in the bathroom. That's about the time where a lot of the bathroom fixtures start to fail. And if you're noticing that, whether it's aesthetically or just functionally, call David Vaughn One Bath and Closets to let them come in and help you. They do tub to shower conversions all the time. They can take out your shower. They can build a new shower. They can take out your tub. They can put in a new tub. They can handle all of it. You don't have to call 3 different contractors. You call One Bath and Closets. They've been at it 30 years. They're licensed, bonded, insured. They got a master plumber. They can handle your bathroom renovation from start to finish. If that's something you're interested in looking at, check it out online, onebathandclosets.com. Contact David. Get that free consultation out of the way. Move forward. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Issues with the mic over there, Hunt?
It just doesn't stay where it needs to.
Yeah.
Tends to
Just fall.
We don't like that.
Oh.
I was really choosing my words carefully as I
Yeah.
had that discussion. But yeah, I'd like it to
Is there like
stay
a little
closer to.
Is there not like a little like something you can tighten up there? or-
it's tightened all the way. I think
Okay.
it's just a little bit
Just
a little
lost
bit
its
worn,
strength,
a little bit
yeah.
weathered. That's all right. I've got the ability to keep it in the right place. Let's talk about these injuries. Obviously, they were part of the huge story on Saturday. Braylon Moore got rolled up on the first play of the game. Then Trey Green in the second half had basically the same thing happen to him while he was blocking on a running play. And those were scary injuries. You see guys get rolled up, and you often fear the worst. For those that missed this earlier today, what we reported yesterday at LouisianaSports.net was also echoed by Brian Kelly today. Both Braylon Moore and Trey Green had MRIs on Sunday, and Brian Kelly called the results positive. Certainly they're injured, and that's a bummer, but it's not quote-unquote catastrophic. You're not going to have season-ending injuries here. Braylon Moore has an ankle issue. I think it's a sprain. Maybe a high ankle sprain, maybe not a high ankle sprain. Either way, he did not have the tightrope surgery, which would indicate the most severe high ankle sprain. He was in a walking boot on Saturday, and they're going to let him try to practice tomorrow. He's questionable for the game on Saturday. Trey Green has got a sprained MCL in his knee. He was on crutches on Saturday night. That is probably a little bit more serious than Braylon Moore's injury in terms of time missed. He's questionable for the game on Saturday as well. I would be shocked if he plays on Saturday. With Braylon Moore out, it's pretty obvious you go right to DJ Chester. That impacts your offensive line. I don't know any other way to say it. Braylon Moore is your best offensive lineman. He really played well against Clemson, and your offensive line is not as good if Braylon Moore is not in the middle of it. DJ Chester is experienced. It's not as if he hasn't played, and he went in there and handled himself okay on Saturday. But you need Braylon Moore back, and so you look at the timeline for LSU. If he doesn't play this week against Florida, like the next week is Southeastern, which no one needs to play, and then you've got Ole Miss before the bye week. So I feel like the target for Braylon Moore should be Ole Miss. Would I be shocked if he plays on Saturday? I would not be shocked. I don't know how severe the injury is. We don't know that. And it sounds like they're going to try to practice him, but I don't know that I would be in a hurry to do that in this game. And if he doesn't play against Florida, under no circumstance would I put him out there against Southeastern. Now, here's the deal. This is something I've had to learn in talking to players. We as fans, and certainly as folks that cover this, are thinking about the season as a whole and saying, hey, you don't need Braylon Moore to play against Southeastern. Like, just hold him out of that game, even if he feels okay. And the other side of that is these guys get up at 4 a.m. They run all summer in the heat. They grind through the long hours of fall camp. They're at study hall. They're at practice. They're at film. They're in rehab. They do so much stuff all year, and they've got 12 times to play. And if Braylon Moore is not healthy enough to go against Florida, but 7 days later, Southeastern comes to town and he is healthy, like they're going to send him out there because you only get to play 12 times. So I don't think it's in the best interest of LSU's goals to send him out there, but if he's healthy, he's going to play. So we'll see. I would hold him till Ole Miss. It sounded like from what Brian Kelly said today, they're going to target Florida, potentially Southeastern, and then Ole Miss would be the for sure answer there. But they need him back in the middle of that offensive line, and they need him back as quickly as he can get back. Trey Green's going to miss a little time, and you can't replace him. You cannot replace Trey Green. It's not possible because you don't have anybody else that's 6'7" that can jump like a basketball player. That person doesn't exist. You've got Bauer Sharp, who's physical and can help in the passing game. You've got Donovan Green, who transferred him to Texas A&M, who's a bigger frame, can help with blocking, and is functional in the passing game. He was Texas A&M's newcomer of the year in 2021. And those guys will handle the 2 tight end sets, and they're veterans, and they'll be fine. But you lose a significant mismatch. We have not seen the last of LSU going to Trey'Dez Green in a formation that really puts a lot of pressure on other defenses to deal with him. You saw it a bunch at Clemson. He got 2 pass interference calls, one set up a touchdown, one touchdown he scored later. Like, he's a problem. And you're going to see more of that. You didn't see it against Louisiana Tech, which brings into to question like how vanilla were things on Saturday. But you don't have anybody that you can replace him with. Like, Nick Anderson brings some size, but I don't think you're going to take the Trey'Dez Green playbook with the 4 wide receivers right, Trey'Dez Green left, make them decide what they're going to do, and then throw him the lob. I don't think you're going to do that with Nick Anderson, but you need Trey'Dez Green to come back and be healthy. Braylon Moore can maybe play a little bit gimpy because he gives you something cerebral up front, and he's in a phone booth, and he's just got to be physical, and if he's a little bit gimpy on that ankle, fine. If Trey'Dez Green is not at 100% and can't jump like he normally does, can't run like he normally does, like, he becomes less effective, and you've got so many pass catchers that are healthy that can do it. Like, I don't think there's any reason to force the issue here. Brian Kelly said that Trey'Dez Green is questionable for the game and that maybe he could move to probable by the end of the week. We had a doctor from Auctioner on at the end of the hour, and Dr. Jeffrey Hogan told us, like, these can be 5-6 week injuries. Now, he is, I want to be clear again, not speaking directly about Trey'Dez Green. He is speaking in generalities about MCL sprains. So to me, I would suggest maybe South Carolina feels a little bit more doable for Trey'Dez Green. That would be 1 week off for Florida, 1 week off for Southeastern, 1 week off for Ole Miss, 1 week off for the bye, and then South Carolina. That would put you at 5 weeks. So he would miss Florida, Southeastern, and Ole Miss. But it remains to be seen what happens. I'm not going to speculate further on when those guys are going to come back. I'm just going to tell you what Brian Kelly said and what the doctor we had on set. The great news is no torn ACLs, no season-ending injuries. They're impactful players. Braylon Moore is your best offensive lineman, and Trey'Dez Green is your most dynamic tight end, no doubt. But you do have depth at those spots. You have last year's center who you don't have to move off the starting lineup spot. He just comes in and plays. And you've got 2 senior. Sharp's a senior. Green is a junior. Donovan Green's a junior. And they're veterans and can play the tight end spot. So it does hurt. But when you were in the stadium on Saturday and you saw the way those guys left the field and what they had put on them with the boot on Moore and crutches on Green and a brace, it didn't look good. Did not look good. But what we reported on Sunday turned out to be true. Brian Kelly talked about it today, and it looks like those guys will return at some point in the coming weeks, which is obviously a very, very good news. Looking for LSU content? Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Hunt on Saints for all your black and gold content. LouisianaSports.net for free. Got a lot of content up there right now. A couple of the baseball commitments. What Brian Kelly had to say about the injuries today. Got my column from the game that's still available. So lots there on the website. All of it is for free. We'll step aside, come back with Denton Day next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. They want to make things convenient for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge. That's why they allow you to search the entire inventory online. That's why they'll come to you for a test drive. That's why they've got delivery and e-contracts. If you purchase a vehicle, they can bring it to you and you don't have to go to the lot. That's why when you go to the lot, they're going to bring your car into a climate-controlled area so that you can see all the features. Their staff is second to none. They'll treat you like a guest, not a customer. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury experience. It's a reasonable price. That's the Genesis way. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. Check out the inventory at GenesisBatonRouge.com. See for yourself what sets Genesis apart. I love working with them. I love getting behind the wheel of their vehicles. You will too once you give them a shot. Whether that's this month you're looking for a vehicle or next year you're looking for a vehicle. Put Genesis on your list. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
right, 30 minutes to go here. Monday edition of the Palmer Show. I hope your work week is off to a good start. Denton Day, college football overtime on Sirius XM. Good enough to give us time on these Mondays. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearm Sightline. Denton, how we doing?
Hold on.
Did you not call Denton?
Not yet.
It's tough to bring him on the show when we haven't called him.
Yes,
that
that's
makes
true.
things exceptionally challenging. So why don't you go ahead and make that happen real quick?
All right.
And then we'll chat with him. Denton probably in a good mood. The Commanders took care of business over the weekend. Jaden Daniels and company got on the winning side of things. So did the Bengals. Finally, it was not pretty from the Bengals. I think they had like 11 yards in the second half. Just couldn't move the ball at all. Myles Garrett just terrorizing Joe Burrow as he generally does. But the Bengals found a way to win. And they didn't win a lot of games last year with defense, and they did so on Sunday. So that was a good thing, and the Commanders off to a good start as well. So the two Heisman-winning LSU quarterbacks off to good starts in the National Football League season, both 1-0. But we're here to talk some college football. We've got Denton now on the Jim's Firearm Sightline. How we doing, sir?
I'm good. I mean, I think you guys are probably better. And I imagine it feels great to see a team like Florida go down the way that they went down this weekend.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, I thought they would cover the 17.5. I thought this was Billy Napier's best roster. I wasn't going to read a lot into South Florida punking Boise State the week prior, and it just was awful offensively for Napier and the Gators. I mean, how much longer are we going to give this?
Not much longer. I was in the same boat. I had Florida covering the 17.5. I thought USF beat a Boise State team that was just overranked because I didn't think Boise State was all that fantastic. And when he was a generational running back, how could you be? And they proved that they are a really legitimate team. Either that or Florida just really sucked and they were also overranked. And this has been the luckiest 2-week stretch in terms of overranked opponents that any Group of 5 team has ever had. I was so bummed out as someone that had put money on Florida and their offense to see the output that they had. This is a home game. This is weather and stuff that they're used to, and they just could not put it together. It was kind of embarrassing. I can't imagine, based off of the way that the schedule unfolds, that he's going to get a whole lot longer there at Florida. And the funniest thing potentially of this whole thing, Hunt, is that the guy that beat him this weekend might eventually be the one that takes his job as head coach.
That would be interesting if they went up the road to Tampa and snagged a coach. So we'll see. It'll be LSU in Florida coming up on Saturday night in Death Valley. Oklahoma, nice win over Michigan. How real is this Sooners team?
I think John Mateer is very real. I think defensively, no one had many questions about them. They were a good defense last year. Brent Venables, a specialties defense. They just needed a quarterback. And, John Mateer looks the part going up against a Wink Martindale defense. Martindale has made a living off of confusing quarterbacks at the highest level. He's had real success doing it at the college level, and it felt like that Mateer, he passed the test, certainly. The problem is, and this has just been the problem with Michigan for the last now 2 seasons, they don't have an offense.
Yep.
So, you perform really, really well, and that's great, but at a certain point, I think everybody kind of knew, well, Michigan's not going to score the rest of the way. Outside a 175-yard scamper, they didn't really move the ball all that effectively, so it does make it a little bit easier to play well when the other team is just not very good offensively, and the defense is constantly out there, and then by the end of it, they're tired. So we'll see. They have a gauntlet as well. It's not a Florida-level gauntlet, but it's just about as close as that Florida-level gauntlet. So we'll see how real they are once they start playing teams in the SEC, but I was very impressed this weekend.
I don't love when Blue Bloods hire the guy who stood next to the head coach. I didn't like when North Carolina and Duke basketball just hired the next guy. And Michigan has done that with Sharon Moore, who was standing next to Jim Harbaugh, and they haven't been able to move the ball since Jim Harbaugh left. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on what the future holds for Sharon Moore. Do you think that he'll eventually make that program his own and have a lot of success, or do you think that this is ultimately going to be a failed hire?
I think it'll be more of a failed hire. And it's not really anything against him, but he's going to have his hands tied because of all of the sanctions, right? So immediately your job is going to be significantly more difficult. In the recruiting trail, the teams are going to use that against you. And if you can't establish a different identity, which you can't because he doesn't have a quarterback, it's going to be really difficult. Now, maybe Bryce Underwood ends up being something, but at that point, if you're not winning games consistently, somebody else is going to throw him money, and he's going to leave if he ends up playing well. So in this new era of college football, I do think it's really difficult, as you mentioned, to just hire the guy that's standing next to the coach and maybe doesn't have a firm grip on how to lead a program. I'm always a fan of going from the group of five or from a lesser conference, basically like the Big 12 or ACC, and stealing one of their coaches and saying, hey, come run this program. You can do it with less resources. We have more resources. Come make this thing work. And I don't know that Sharon Moore is the guy for Michigan if they want to hit the levels that they did with Jim Harbaugh.
You have a thought on Penn State? Kind of a sloppy beginning there. It just didn't look great. Do you care at all because it's a game that they won comfortably against a bad team, or is there any sort of red flag there?
Maybe an orange flag because it was sloppy, but against that opposition, there's really not much you're going to take away from it. They didn't hang 70, and I guess they would have liked to hang 70 the way that some of these other schools did. But I mean, I don't really take too much away from them not busting the chops of Florida International.
We'll see. Speaking of offense, Bo Pribula and Missouri really slung it around a little bit on Kansas on their home field in Columbia over the weekend. 42-31 was the final there. How good's Missouri?
I think they're climbing the rankings of being a good team. I actually had Kansas in that one. I thought coming into that one, the Jalen Daniels, potential Heisman candidate there, I thought he played really well the first 2 weeks, and he played well in this one, but Kansas just not as talented. So the fact that they're 25 now, I do think that the floor for them is going to continue to rise because they have a guy that they now trust to sling it around. And it's such a luxury in today's college football landscape if you have a guy that you can trust. Hey, go make a big-time throw, and you have him go out there and he does it. So I think Missouri has the potential to very quietly, charge up these rankings a little bit and be looked at as a good team by the end of the year.
Let's talk about the week to come here, just kind of overarching thoughts. I'm curious how you see Georgia and Tennessee. Kind of a sluggish effort from Georgia offensively back on Saturday as well. Tennessee scored 70. So how do you see that one?
We're really going to find out about this Joey Aguilar guy. Yeah. I mean, I think anything would have been better than Nico Y, and what he's doing at UCLA is hilarious. I mean, this guy wanted all the money in the world and he can't play. So we're going to find out a lot about this Joey Aguilar kid because this is you want to talk about a step up in competition. Georgia's a step up in competition from some of the teams that Tennessee has been playing. They're not going to hang 70 on them, but at the same time, I don't really know what Gunnar Stockton is. He looked good in week one. As you mentioned, they were kind of sloppy-er, if you will. Not part of that's because of the weather, and, they moved the game time up like a couple hours before the game, so there was a bunch of different factors that led to that. But this one, no excuses, right? This is a tough matchup. You know about it. You should be amped for it. I think we're going to learn, though, more about Tennessee than we will about Georgia, just to how real this quarterback situation they have going on is.
I like to see what I think the line will be before I actually look at the line that gets posted. And I was way off on Texas A&M and Notre Dame for this week. I would have had that close to a field goal. The number I'm looking at right now is 6.5. Notre Dame is favored. That surprises me a little bit. How do you read that one?
That is stunning because I do that same thing. I'm such a degenerate that I like to see if I could make it as an odds maker. The whole radio thing doesn't work out. But I would have thought I would say maybe 3.5 to 4.5. So the fact that it's 6.5 is a little startling, especially because Notre Dame, they didn't get the benefit of a layup game this week to get into rhythm. Maybe this is Vegas saying they don't really trust that Marcel Reed is going to be 100% the upcoming weekend, but it's not like they did anything Notre Dame against Miami that you thought was so unbelievably positive that they'll be able to go in and beat Texas A&M. So that line is a little surprising, but you know how it goes. When the line is surprising, that means there's something up.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Clemson looked really bad in the first half against Troy. Found a way to rally in the second half. They go on the road to Georgia Tech. I think there are some folks here in Baton Rouge that are a little bit concerned with Clemson's effort over the weekend. Are you concerned that maybe that LSU win wasn't as good as we thought at the time?
Maybe a little bit. You're going to learn. I mean, this is the game that I have circled as we are learning a lot here.
Yeah.
As someone that had Clemson as the national championship pick, as someone that was not Heisman level high on Cade Klubnik, but I was higher than most because it felt like people were just kind of dunking on him this entire offseason. If you can't beat Georgia Tech I wasted my money, and a lot of us wasted our breath talking about Clemson as a championship team. This is one that you have to have. Georgia Tech is a good ACC team. You did not play very well in the first quarter and the first half, really even part of the third quarter against Troy. This is a game that Clemson needs to have, and it would, I think, be very good for them, and in turn, very good for LSU if they do their best to win this one with style points.
Yeah, we'll be watching from back here in Baton Rouge. One more SEC game that has caught my eye based on the results of this past weekend. Vanderbilt going back on the road to South Carolina. 5.5 is the number on that one. It was an impressive second half for Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech. Do they have a chance to go to Columbia and win?
I would pump the brakes a little bit on that one. Virginia Tech, I'm not like super local to Virginia Tech, but it kind of is at the same time. They're like the closest 5.5 hour school away from me that I think I can imagine. So we kind of are like Virginia Tech territory in DC. They stink. Okay. They're not good. Yeah, I mean, they are perennially a team that is going to take a number 2 in the bed. That's just kind of how they've operated over the past couple of years since Frank Beamer left. I think that is a little bit of a head fake, what you saw. It's great for Vanderbilt. I mean, they played well in the second half. I'm not taking that away from them. But there's something about this Virginia Tech team they have not been a trustworthy team for the last decade here.
Well, what do you make of that? If you're there, I mean, Beamer had them. They were relevant in a lesser league. They were Big East for a lot of that. But they were relevant every year. They were putting a lot of guys in the NFL, and they just haven't been relevant at all for almost a decade.
No, they haven't had a quarterback. I thought Drones was going to be really good last year, and he showed spurts, but he wasn't fantastic. And it's kind of more of the same. It's a lot more difficult when teams in the Big Ten that are taking the recruiting footprint that is the greater Washington, D.C. area, which is one of the best in the country, when teams in the Big Ten and teams in the SEC are now putting the money in to go and get these kids. Virginia Tech loses out on most of them.
Makes sense. Got to have players to win games. Kirby Smart talks about it all the time, and if you don't have them, it's a real tough slog. All right, Denton, we appreciate some time. We'll be catching you after the ball game on Saturday, and then we'll talk to you again next Monday.
Hunt, appreciate it as always, my friend. Be well.
Denton Day, SiriusXM College Football Overtime, gives us a little national perspective on Mondays. Let's take a time out, close it out. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show. This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Kellen Moore, meeting with media today, further explained his not taking a timeout at the end of the first half, which I laid out in my segment in hour number 1. But the Cardinals had first and goal at the 5 with 1 minute and 16 seconds to go in the half. And the Saints had all 3 timeouts, and they let the clock get all the way down to 28 seconds by the time the Cardinals scored a touchdown and the Saints got it back, which I thought was ridiculous. They just called a timeout, and you could have gotten the ball back with 1 minute to go. And Kellen Moore's explanation today about that, after 24 hours later, was that he didn't want to call timeouts, get the ball back with 1 minute to go 3 and out, and have the Cardinals have the ball back again. I mean, if that's the concern, then what are we even doing? Like, that's ludicrous in my eyes.
What did Herm Edwards say? You play to win the game. I think you have to consider the fact that you can give yourself a possession. Like, if you call the timeouts, you get a possession. And without calling the timeouts, you don't get a possession. And the Saints lost a possession because they didn't call timeouts. That's just
didn't want to go
it.
3 and out and give the ball back to the Cardinals. A lot of trust in that defense and that offense.
Yeah, also,
I don't trust the offense to get a first down. I don't trust the defense to get a stop.
Why are you just assuming that you're going to go 3 and out? Why would you believe that? Shouldn't you believe you're going to have positive plays?
That's a bad answer. And here's what I think. I will never be able to prove this. No chance I can prove it. It is just a gut instinct. I think he choked, and I think he's trying to make it sound better. So he thought up another explanation last night and then went with it, and I think it was wrong. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
Again, it's not that big a deal because I don't think that the games that they win or lose this season are going to matter very much. What will be important is that he learns from that, and don't do that again. Don't just let the clock run down while your defense is standing on the 3-yard line and then go up a touchdown and not have the opportunity to go down the field with your offense because you didn't call a timeout. That he needs to learn from that. He can make mistakes. It's his first year as a head coach. He can make mistakes. Just don't do it 3 times. Learn from the mistakes that you make. And that was a mistake. I don't need to hear the answer that he thought they were going to go 3 and out and punt back to the Cardinals and let them score again. I don't think so. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Had a few flights yesterday in the afternoon. Very, very tasty on those warm Louisiana days. If you're looking for a light beer that still has that great flavor, you haven't tried Flight by Yingling yet, what are you waiting for? We gave away 3 cases on Friday. Told all those were very, very tasty as well. It's Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here. The Shark Dogs got it done on Saturday. Take it or leave it.
You better leave that, boss.
I'll take it. Oh, yeah?
Oh, the 4-year-olds showed up. Our team's only 3. I think the final was something close to 29-1. Like, the Shark Dogs got the ball, and the other team was on the other side of the field, and one of the kids would start dribbling it, and once it got, 6 feet in front of that whatever Shark Dog, the 4-year-old would just take it and go score. I mean, every time.
Okay, so they lost.
Oh, yeah, 29-1.
That's what I said. I asked if they got it done. You said take it.
Oh, we'd leave.
Okay, so we need to leave that.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
need to leave it alone. It was a annihilation by the 4-year-old.
Who scored?
Meyer scored.
Okay, see, that's what we need to hear, Hunt.
He was not impressed with his team's effort.
Well, of course not. You
so
can't.
I'm not doing very good. So you're doing great, bud. These kids are a lot older than you.
Yeah.
There was a girl on this team, looked like Mia Hamm out there. I mean, she was just putting it in the net. They were scoring instantly at every time.
Yeah.
Shark Dogs played tough. They got a goal in the second half.
Great effort for Myers. Okay,
Great
that's
effort
look.
for the
You
Myers
learn from those games. You
I
really
think that
do.
every other team except one in the league is 4. So we've gotten
that's
the 3. When they played the 3-year-olds the week
good.
before, the Shark Dogs dominated, but they get it handed to them pretty good by the 4-year-olds.
I'm sorry, they're going to learn from that. It's gonna build character in them
it
for sure.
is.
Yeah. Next one, Monday Night Football. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Just saw the field. A lot of concerns about the field at Soldier Field tonight.
It's
Had
always
some
bad.
concerts last week. They got new sod. You can very clearly see it's just been rolled out. They're out there hammering away on it. It's just ridiculous.
Soldier Field has had issues with the
turf always looks bad.
It's
the Bears
always
are
bad.
moving. They're going to Arlington Heights, but they gotta figure something out. That field's bad.
Yeah. All right. Last one here. The United States won the Walker Cup on Sunday for its 5th straight victory, beating Great Britain and Ireland 17-9 at Cypress Point Club, bringing the overall record to 49-1 in favor of the United States. Let's change
Wait,
the Walker
Cup has only been won by GB&I once?
No, 9.
Oh, I thought you said 1.
No. So they're 40. They're 49-1. So one draw. There was one time they tied.
49-1.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't realize it was that lopsided.
Yes. Let's change the Walker Cup to U.S. versus Europe like the Ryder Cup. Take it or leave it.
I'd take it. I think that'd be fine if they wanted to do that. That's going to hurt a lot of GB&I guys' chances of making the team.
In Ireland, yeah, that's true.
I saw that a guy had a walk-off eagle in 17. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that is. But that's Why do we don't need the Ryder Cup is U.S. versus Europe. Let's just make this. This is supposed to be the amateur version of that. Just let the other European guys come play. I mean, it would just make it a lot more competitive.
I also love Stu Hagestad playing in it.
Yeah,
there's a guy for GB&I that's in high school.
Yeah.
And Hagestad's 34.
There was also a guy for GB&I was 32 as well.
Was there?
Yeah.
There's a 6'9" guy.
Hey.
Means you got a shot to make the Walker Cup.
All right.
What are you hitting on 16 at Cypress Point?
Probably, if there's no wind, probably a 3 hybrid. If there is wind, probably a 3 wood.
3 wood?
Yes.
My caddy on that hole said he had never braked the back bunker. He had never had anybody.
I saw a video about how a caddy literally lived in between the 16th and 17th hole right there. It just had a tent.
Quite a place.
Yeah.
Cypress Point, good spot. That's it for us here on this Monday. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Injury updates from LSU, injury updates from the Saints as well. We'll transition to moving into next week's games on tomorrow's show. Y'all have a safe Monday evening. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR next. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show.